As a person who owns both iPhone 16 Pro Max and Galaxy S24 Ultra, I cannot decide which one is better, so I thought to do a day in the life comparison of the two. Many reports claim that iPhone 16 Pro Max has an exceptional battery life. On the other hand, many YouTubers have reported battery issues with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. I'm going to do a realistic day in the life battery test today. Another big question is how the cameras compare. There is a lot of camera comparison that say the S24 Ultra is taking better pictures, but the iPhone 16 Pro Max is better at taking videos. I'm also gonna check that claim with Daria together with my Sony camera by taking pictures in the most livable city in the world, the city of Vienna. By the end of the video, you will get all the answers you are looking for about the cameras and battery life, and I think the result is going to shock you a bit. The day started in the morning while both phones were being charged fully to 100%. Out of the bat, the wireless charging speed improved on iPhone 16 Pro Max, and now it is 25 watts instead of 15 watts, while on S24 Ultra it is 15 watts. With wired charging, both of them are 45 watt charging speed, which is alright. Today is a sunny Sunday, and I have a packed schedule, but for now I'm going to play YouTube videos for an hour while getting ready. The S24 Ultra here is color titanium gray, while the iPhone 16 Pro Max is color desert titanium. Dimension-wise, they are almost identical. The cameras on the back look different though. The S24 Ultra has a fourth camera, which is a 3x telephoto lens, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max lacks that. There is something hidden in the Ultra, which is of course my favorite piece of all, the S Pen. All the buttons on the S24 Ultra are on the right side of the phone, while the iPhone 16 Pro Max has button on both sides. And recently, apart from the action button, which was more or less already there, they are also added a camera button on the right side. I finished watching YouTube on both phones, and they are now at 90% for S24 Ultra and 97% for iPhone 16 Pro Max. Not a good start for Ultra. The Ultra is running One UI 6.1.1, and I updated it a few weeks ago, so it should already be stable. iPhone is running iOS 18, but not the beta version. Here you can also see one of the main differences between Android and iOS. In Android, you can minimize YouTube or video call and it goes to the corner of the screen while you can multitask. On the iPhone, it does minimize somehow, but it goes on the dynamic island, and the only thing that you can do is basically maximize it again. It is better than nothing, but it's not real multitasking. I put both of them in a nice MagSafe Taurus case, the sponsor of today's video, which we'll talk about later. Let's check the selfie quality first. So here is also the selfie camera, we can check that. On the left side we have iPhone 16 Pro Max, and on the right side we have Galaxy S24 Ultra. I'm going for breakfast right now. Here I snapped a couple of early autumn pictures. The Galaxy on the right side is brighter and more vivid. Here is a 50x zoom photo. Galaxy made the picture more smooth. Even though it looks more digital, I prefer it. We arrive at the breakfast place, and I put both phones on the table while waiting patiently for our omelette. The food photos are great on both phones. Here, the Galaxy blurred the orange juice in the background and went to macro mode, which is nice. Here I took a picture of Vivek, and I found iPhone colors are more accurate to his skin tone. Galaxy made him a bit purple and lifted the shadows too much. Also, one nice feature of Galaxy S24 Ultra is the anti-reflective display. It is crucial in some situations like this. You need to put an anti-reflective cover on top though, and you cannot use a normal glass. After breakfast, we went outside with Daria. Right now, the S24 Ultra is at 70%, while the iPhone 16 Pro Max is at 83%. Both of them are connected to the same 5G network. Ignore the Wi-Fi sign here. Galaxy is trying to connect to a free Wi-Fi. I'm also running Komoot to track our walk in Maria Hilfestraße in the background. We started by taking some portrait pictures of ourselves. For the reference, the picture in the middle was taken by my Sony camera and had quite accurate colors from Daria. I feel the iPhone skin tone is more accurate here, as Galaxy added a bit too much yellow. Here the picture is taken in portrait mode. Here the iPhone added too much green to the white balance, and I prefer the Galaxy photo. Then I took a photo using 5x zoom. Again, Galaxy has more red to it, which is a bit more realistic and more lively. Both of them did a similar job regarding cutting Daria's hair to create artificial bokeh. Statistically, when I stop showing Daria, you folks skip the video. There will be more of her, but for now, this is a picture of me. I prefer the Galaxy skin tone on myself here. One problem I have with Galaxy portrait mode is that the autofocus is bad and it misses shots a lot. You can fix it later and the information will not be lost, but nevertheless, this is an issue for me. When it does work though, here on 2x zoom, it again did a better job in my opinion. Skin tones are tricky. Also, it depends a bit on what lighting is used on the subject, and the result can vary. Another thing is that iPhone pictures tend to have more contrast, something girls usually not a big fan of because it makes the skin tone harsher. For selfies, both of them created similar results. Again, the iPhone is a bit more contrasty and darker. I'm mainly a video guy, I just prefer it over pictures because it is easier to tell a story with video. One problem with the iPhone is the lack of 3x telephoto lens, so anything that you take between 1 and 5 is more a digital crop rather than an optical one. This is something I prefer on Galaxy, especially since 3x zoom is much more natural for portraits and is kind of a shot that I take. Here I'm using a 2x zoom with portrait mode. The result of the Galaxy, to be frank, is a bit disappointing. The colors are too vibrant and a little bit of details are being missed. But that's just my preference, yours can be different. In the normal mode, both of them support 4K 60 frames per second, which is neat because you can use it to do some slow motion. Often in a normal camera, I never go beyond 60 frames per second because there are not much more to show, but I can get the appeal of having a higher frame rate per second. Luckily this year, Apple also introduced 120 frames per second. Also, unlike Galaxy that you should go to the Pro mode, you can shoot 120 frames per second in the normal mode on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. At least to my eyes, the result on iPhone looks better compared to Galaxy. It could be because of the new faster lens that they are using. One area that I do prefer Galaxy is the maximum amount of zoom when taking videos. Even though I do understand that zooming 20 times will not create a great result, just having the ability to zoom that much is something I really love. And I use it a lot when I want to take a certain shot, and the result is always okay to use for social media. Now let's check the audio quality of the phones. And today's sponsor of the video is Taurus. They make super nice cases. Now I'm talking with iPhone 16 Pro Max. The case protects your phone quite nicely. Also, it is MagSafe compatible, and there is a cute ring that you can open and close to put your phone. Taurus, of course, also has cases for iPhone 16 Pro Max. This one is in color gold, which I really like. There is again a very cute ring that you can pull out, and you can also rotate, which is quite nice. There's a camera cutout for your camera button, and it does protect your phone quite nicely. All the edges are protected, and you can also use your Taurus power bank to charge your phone for 25 watts per hour on iPhone 16 Pro Max. Check out the links of Taurus in the description down below. There's something that set the iPhone Pro series apart in video making, and that's not the camera button, but the ProRes log format. It does give you much more control over your colors and end result compared to any other phone. When you are making a video with ProRes, the video looks very dull and flat, and you have to apply a lot and color grade it later, so the video is not usable without editing. Here on the left side, I'm using a lot. For example, I decided to go for more neutral colors, especially for the sky, whereas in the Galaxy, the sky is too saturated. Also, since I have much more information to play around with, I can change my colors and have a similar tone, sharpness, and sky color as the Galaxy on the iPhone 2. It is very important to note that shooting in log does not automatically make your video better. In fact, I never shoot in log with any of my cameras, even when I do shoot weddings. On the other hand, by shooting in log, you can have much more flexibility in using your phone footage in a more professional setting. I would argue that the iPhone is already on a level that can replace most of the entry-level cameras on the market with this format for professionals who do not want to spend a fortune for a new camera in countries where salaries are low. For example, my lens alone is as expensive as the iPhone. We then moved back to take pictures of the city, and I'm very excited to show you more of Vienna. You probably heard it from many people, but any phone these days can take great pictures during daylight. The only difference is the colors. For example, the Galaxy is cooler here, but the white balance of the iPhone is warmer. The same applies to the main lens. That's why I usually prefer to do the comparison on the telephoto lens, which is something I use the most. Again, the iPhone 16 Pro Max does not have a 3x telephoto lens, unlike the Galaxy, which creates a bit of a problem if you want to zoom on anything between 1 to 5 times. And the quality is not optically as good as what Galaxy produces. On the other hand, the digital crop together with computational photography is advanced enough that, unlike you pixel peep on the photos, you won't notice anything. I would argue the main difference is more in the colors, the tones, the contrast, and how they treat the colors. Also on the iPhone, you can change the picture profile before taking the picture with the cameras. Hence, things are even blurrier than usual. Here, by the way, I'm using the standard mode on the iPhone, which as I said, creates more contrasty, warmer looking pictures than the Galaxy. It has a bit of a golden aura to it if it makes sense to you. I'm gonna compare the colors more in details later, but you probably also notice overall the colors of the Galaxy S24 are in general more vibrant compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max and pop more. If you go beyond 5 to 10 times zoom, like if you go to 15 times zoom for example, you will quickly realize the difference between the two phones and become more and more visible. iPhone 16 Pro Max increases the noise and sharpens the image, while Galaxy tries its best to smooth the image and edges so the picture does not look noisy. They probably also apply a heavy noise reduction. The results look more digital but also more usable. Like taking videos, Galaxy again lets you zoom into the subject much further than the iPhone does when taking photos. It is something super nice to have this option because you can take some nice shots, and together with how Galaxy processes the image, you can capture something that you cannot capture with any camera right now, and that's gimmicky but nice to have. And talking about colors, I use my Sony camera to check how the two phones are doing compared to the normal camera. Both of them saturated the sky a bit, especially the Galaxy, but both of them over-sharpened the hell out of the image. I'm using a very sharp lens on Sony, but still both phones managed to give a miles ahead sharper image. This is just how phones are these days, and I kind of don't like that. When it comes to colors, the standard profile on iPhone is more muted. The greens are more contrasty and darker compared to the Galaxy, and that applies to almost all colors of all sorts, especially the red, where in the Galaxy phone it is much more vibrant compared to iPhone. One big issue with the Galaxy phones for generation is the shutter lag. Unfortunately for Galaxy, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is even better than before, and now they have a faster lens, which is great news for them. If you have pets or kids, you probably already know the pain of taking pictures with a Samsung phone. And here you can see the horses are all turned out blurry, even though I was doing my best using burst mode on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, while the iPhone did a great job. There's no excuse because there's definitely enough light right now outside to not have this issue. We went to have another coffee, and right now S24 Ultra is at 45%, while iPhone 16 Pro Max is at 61% battery left. One thing that is driving me crazy about iPhone and iOS, and Daria captured it very well here, is the lack of a universal back gesture. In each app, the back gesture is different, and even in the same app, the back gesture can be implemented differently in different views. That absolutely drives me nuts all the time. In contrast, on Android, you have a universal back gesture that is on top of all the other gestures that you already have, which is neat. And you don't need to memorize the back gesture on every single app. Also, you already have a couple of useful AI features on the Galaxy. The two that I use regularly are a bit gimmicky, but they basically create a slow motion for your video, even if you didn't capture it with a high frame rate. The other thing that I use very often is a circle to search, which is rather nice when you are in a new city and want to quickly check the name of the place, or when you see a new plant and you want to search for the name. And here are a couple of pictures of the nice cappuccino in a French cafe for you all. We then went outside to take a metro to go back home. I also stopped the activity, and right now the S24 Ultra is at 14%, while the iPhone 16 Pro Max is at 47% battery left. By the time I got home, S24 Ultra only had 1% left, while iPhone had 29 left. Both of them had a slightly more than 4 hours screen on time. I should say I'm very disappointed with the battery life of the S24 Ultra right now. I even made a day in the live video while I was in Barcelona, but the battery died around 5 PM, so I could not finish the video. I thought it was just an incident, so I didn't report that. I reset the phone, but again I encountered the same issue. Also, there are other YouTubers who reported their S24 Ultra battery is draining crazy, which clearly to me is a software issue. It is also a mixed bag. Some days I do get good battery, but if I go outside and put the phone on max brightness, take videos and photos, and connect to GPS, the phone may not last a full day. So I did put a power bank on the back of the phone. Just to be clear, I did not tamper with battery life to promote the Taurus power bank, but hey, shout out to Taurus. The links are in the description below. Now we have some more juice, so we can go out and take more videos. With the ultra-wide lens, the iPhone clearly made a better picture, especially with the better colors and white balance. With the main lens, the S24 Ultra did a better one if you look at the lamp. Also, the iPhone still has this ghosting green light issue, which they haven't solved yet. Same thing on the 5x zoom. The iPhone tried too hard to lift the shadows and also created artifacts on the picture that shouldn't be there. On the video, we have a similar situation. The iPhone did create a better video. On the main lens, they did create better colors, but when you zoom in, things start to change. Even though the zoom shift is worse on the Galaxy in terms of colors, the video is created is more usable. Now the day is finished, I can tell you that I like both iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. I feel the iPhone gives a better, more consistent experience overall, while Samsung and Android give you more freedom, and the phone is more feature-rich. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. You can also go for a smaller version of these phones, which I made a video on in the same day in the life format. So watch a comparison of Galaxy S24 versus iPhone 16 next. Thanks for tuning into TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.